Okay, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Welch from the Royal Borough of Kingston, and I've been responsible for leading our CRM and web projects. Just before I start, I'd just like to say to Jadu colleagues, thank you for today, and what a great venue. I think it's a great place to come this. So I'd just like to start just by telling you a little bit about the Royal Borough of Kingston. It's a borough in southwest London. We've got a population of 169,000 people. About just under half of our residents have lived at the same address for 9 years or more, so it's fairly static. About 18% are categorised as career professionals, living in what we would call sought-after locations. Nearly a quarter of householders categorised as older families living in suburbia, and approximately a third of households in Kingston are occupied by younger residents. So in a nutshell, we've got a population with a very high propensity to transact online using a website. Okay, so about 3 years ago we started on a programme of work you is either on this journey, in the process of doing this, or have maybe completed it. So I expect you're familiar with the triangle on the right with channel effectiveness. Our programme of work has been very much about achieving savings. We had a target of 400k savings to make as a result of these projects. Key to that is making our website the default channel of choice for all our residents, for all our transactions. We had a target of delivering 50% of all of our transactions online by the end of last year, and key to that is reducing avoidable contact and failure demand in our contact centre to get the volume of calls down. We made some brave decisions about integrating CRM with some of our back office systems, very much based on our high volume transactions. What we didn't want to do was just have handoff emails going to the back office. We very much wanted customers to be putting information directly into back office systems effectively to make our savings. We wanted to develop a single sign-on. It's very topical from the previous session. We had the situation where you had a different sign-on for council tax, for making a special collection, going to the libraries, etc., across all of our website, which isn't really conducive to a good customer experience. We had devolved content publishing on our website, and we recognised that we had some major issues with our website. We had some cultural behaviours we needed to change. We had a very council-centric website with council-centric content, and key to developing customer centricity we felt was changing our publishing model, which is something that the Jadu solutions enabled us to do. We very much wanted to simplify our website content, and I'll show you why in a second. And we wanted to make website transactions really easy for our customers. We recognise that a large majority of transactions are location-based, so we very much wanted to use a mapping interface for that as well. But key to channel shift, as I'm sure you all know, is balancing reassurance against need, because there will always be those customers who need face-to-face services. The people who turn up with a shopping trolley with all their belongings, aren't going to use the website. And the great thing about channel shift is that the more you shift transactions away from the services at the bottom of the pyramid, the more those services can focus on the most needy customers. So I'm just going to show you our old website. You probably won't be able to see this. Even if it was magnified, you'd probably still struggle. But our old website, when we started the project, had been around for about 7 years. It had had very little investment. the services had written all the content, and this is just an example of breaches of planning control page. And you can see it's very tight text, it's difficult to read, and from the customer journey point of view, the only way you can find information is to read the entire thing, or you just give up and pick up the telephone, which is what most of our customers used to do. It felt a very claustrophobic website when you were on it. The first thing you wanted to do really was get off it. And we had 4,000 pages of content that were like this, mainly lifted from paper documents and pasted into the website with no real understanding of how customers actually read content. We actually engaged Jadu's design team to come up with a fresh new design for us, because we wanted something radically different from the old Kingston website. We wanted residents to instantly see that we had something new, something fresh, and something modern. This is what the same page looks like now on our current website. You'll see the design is quite different. It's a lot more pastel, it's easier to read. And under breaches of planning control there, you can see there's some key bullet points that tell you what you want to know. And then on the right, there are supplements which then take you on the journey to actually get to the next bit of information. So you've got a choice of routes based on what it is you actually want to see, which is very different to having to read a huge page of text. And this was very much something that we worked with Jadu on around customer journey mapping. So what was quite interesting was one of the early revelations with working with Jadu was the fact that in 2015 it's estimated that more users are going to access websites through mobile devices than computers. Interestingly, the John Lewis Partnership found that on their busiest day of trading in December this year, they actually found that happened for the first time. They had more mobile phone transactions than desktop transactions. What we realised quite early on with our discussions with Jadu was that this is very much going to make a number of websites in both the public and private sector either obsolete or very much in need of some change, and that the key to our design process was very much to design for mobile devices. We had the classic need to have to pinch in and pinch out, and even when you did that it was still extremely difficult to use our website on a mobile device. So the design that Jadu came up with was a responsive design which enables you to use our mobile version of the solution. It means that we don't have to add apps. It means that we can just access pretty much everything through mobile devices and tablets. I personally think it's a beautiful design. You might have your own views, but we're very much focused on getting away from having photographs on our website. We wanted it to be very transactional, because at the end of the day we have to achieve 50% of our transactions online. And as somebody pointed out in one of the earlier sessions, people don't go to a council website to browse, they go to transact and do something. So we have to make that as easy as we can for them. Just like to give you a view of what life was like before the CRM and web projects delivered the transformation. Okay, we had a large number of bespoke scripts in our CRM system which we couldn't alter. We had something like 200 knowledge-based articles where people in the contact centre had written their own crib sheets for their own scripts, which quite often didn't tie up with our website, so customers were getting a different picture when they looked at the website from when they spoke to advisors in our contact centre. And a good example I'd like to run you through is just reporting a street light. What used to happen was that a resident would describe the details on a web form, and this was very much prone to errors, and it was prone to multiple reporting of the same fault. My personal favourite was one that I saw for a street lamp that had failed in New King Street and was described as next to the Silver Gulf. And I'm sure you can spot the obvious problem there. What this meant was that the contractor had lots of difficulties finding faulty streetlights. This caused inefficiencies for the contractor, which added to our costs. We had huge problems in the back office with lots of avoidable contact from residents, because as soon as you reported something online, it went into a black hole. You didn't actually know what had happened to it, so the next thing was you would phone up to find out what had happened. And the overall perception from residents was of a poorly delivered service. Thank you. Okay. So how does it look now? Well, we've incorporated our GIS mapping solution into our website. So what happens now is that if I log on to our website, I see a map with my address highlighted in the box, and the assets, in this case streetlights, are presented as the red dots. All I need to do is hover over one of those red dots with my mouse, click it, and I get a drop-down menu with 4 different types of failure, i.e. the bulb's staying on all day or it doesn't work at all, or the covers off the lamp post. And if the cover's off, we know that's an emergency. That gets a 24-hour response. If it's just the lamp that's failed, it gets a 10-day response. We've overcome the issue of multiple reporting. If you look at the warning triangles there, those are street lamps that have actually been already reported. So instantly you can see that somebody's reported something, so you don't need to. But you can ask to be kept informed, and if you click on one of those triangles, you'll be kept informed of the progress of that particular repair. Essentially what happens in the Kingston system now is that a resident online will report a street light using that map I just showed you. What that does is it sends all the asset details from the mapping system straight into CRM, so it'll tell the system the lamp column number, its GPS coordinates, and the type of bulb fitting that's in the lamp. CRM creates a service request on the right there, and it sends an automated email back to the resident just to say we acknowledge your request, and to tell them what the SLA is to fix it depending on the type of fault. So that in itself starts to get rid of some of the unwanted contact that we were getting in our contact centre. At the same time, CRM passes all of that information to the contractor's system. The contractor's system automatically raises a fault, which then sends an engineer out to go and sort out the problem. All of that process from there to where I've just described happens on one click, essentially, on the website. There's no human intervention within Kingston at that point. So the service engineer fixes the fault. He updates the contractor system to say the fault's closed. CRM polls that system every couple of minutes to find updates. As soon as it gets that update, it completes the service request, and it then sends an email to the resident to say that their service request is closed. So that's the type of integration that we've tried to build into our website across the system. We've done that with 42 different processes, and all of those processes are available on the website and in our contact centre. They use exactly the same technology and the same script. We've integrated with some of the council's major back office systems, most recently with the Northgate iWorld system, so that we've got council tax payments, direct debits, single occupancy discounts, all being done online. We've also integrated with our parking system, with our ISIS mapping, with Flare, which is for noise nuisance complaints, and with Capita for all our payments. So our approach has been an 80-20 approach, where we've tried to integrate with the 80% of the really high volume transactions, and with the other 20% we're quite happy for those to be handoff emails to the back office. We've also developed integration with our contractor systems, and our CRM system just passes information directly into those, as you've seen. We've developed a single sign-on and authentication, and we've done that through our CRM system. We've also created something we call Citizen Self-Service, which enables website users to see all their outstanding service requests and their council tax payments all from one screen. And we've created an automated email to residents for all the service requests that they request when they log in. So that's the CRM project, which has been all about really creating the transactional capability for our website. But the most important bit for us really has been the web project in terms of creating an environment where customers can actually go and transact and use usable customer-centric content. The project team rewrote 4,000 pages of content for our entire website. We started off thinking we were going to do a content cleanse and quickly realised that it was going to turn into a huge rewrite and new navigation as well. But we got it down to 1,500 very succinct pages. We have devolved to a more centralised content publishing model. We have content owners and editors in the business, but we make use of the Jadu content publishing approvals process to approve everything centrally within our communications team. The responsive design has been very successful. We've had a lot of favourable comments from residents. It's great to be able to use the website on multiple devices. And our design has very much been to encourage users to transact online, with top transactions being the most prominent thing on our homepage. And we spent a lot of time with Jadu mapping out what those should be based on the statistics of our website. And the final thing, if you're doing channel shift, is that there's a number of forces trying to undermine everything that you do, namely all the council publications that go out to members of the public, because they've all got email addresses, individual telephone numbers, and we were very fortunate with our project in that we had a governance structure that went to the top of the organisation, so we were able to empower actually removing all of the email addresses and telephone numbers from the vast majority of council communications. And it's very important to do that because people put big stationery orders in at the start of the year and then say, oh, well, we've got hundreds of these, we can't change them now. So the quicker you can do that, the better. So how have we done? Well, in the last 14 months, we've had 30,000 new account registrations for the website. Quite a big increase in March, which was when all the council tax bills went out, and the rather brave decision was made to remove email addresses and telephone numbers from all our council tax bills, so that people were forced really to go online for that, and that created a huge spike in registrations. What's interesting is that even now we're still getting around 1,500 new registrations per month on our website. The most important piece is channel shift and how we've fared against our 50% target. We started when the CRM project went live, i.e. the 42 transactions, with around about 15% of our transactions going through the website. This particular graph just focuses on what we're calling our environment transactions, so it excludes council tax and parking. If you put those in, we'd be up at about 78%, but they distort the numbers because there's no contact centre equivalent to make those payments. They're done by automatic phone lines. Our new website went live in August, where the arrow is, and you can see that in the months of September and October there was strong growth from the point that it went live. And we had every expectation that come November we would break the 50% mark. But unfortunately, even though our website transactions continued to grow, what happened in that period was that telephone transactions grew even further. And the reason for that is that you can have very sophisticated integration, but if there's a guy in a Nissan hut at the waste team who decides that he's going to pull off all the batches and close them instantly rather than after all the runs have been done, residents are going to start phoning up and saying, well, I've just got an email saying my collection's been done but it's still sitting outside. And we had a problem with contractors in the month of November and December, which we had to sort out, which created quite a lot of failure demand in the contact centre. So with the best one in the world, it's quite a tough target to meet. What then happened in January and February is it rained and rained and rained, and we had lots and lots of calls about flooding worries into the contact centre. We're hoping that as we move into normality in March and April, we will break through our 50% target. So in terms of efficiencies and benefits, we've seen a 6-fold increase in self-service transactions in 14 months. This has led to reduced administration through the integration that we've done with CRM to the back office system and to our contractors. We've already taken savings of 140k, and this year we're going to make savings of 285k, which adds up to 425. What's interesting is that the web project in particular has had a significant impact on the back office, because my colleagues in the comms team who've focused on rewriting content to make it much more customer centric have effectively been enforcing change into the back office, because the back office feel disenfranchised when you talk about channel shift, because once you start to take all the calls away from them, they initially start to resist that. But the team have been working very hard on this, and we are starting to introduce customer-centric behaviours into the back office that maybe previously weren't there. For our customers' point of view, there's a much quicker, more efficient website, there's a much better customer experience, and there's a consistency of information now between our website and our contact centre. And finally, our contractors are getting very precise data now with our faults as a result of what's been implemented with our mapping system. So Raj talked about loveys, and we were very fortunate to be awarded a lovey last year for the CRM project. It won the award for Best Use of Technology at the 2013 LSCC Awards. And we're actually nominated for 2 categories in this year's MJ Awards, so fingers crossed, we're very hopeful about that. Thank you very much.